Hi, welcome to Tendoc Talks About the Power Rangers role-playing game. Today I wanted to talk about a supplemental adventure called Glutton for Punishment. It is a 3-section scenario that I'm going to need at least 3 videos to talk about. We'll see how long each video segment gets as I go. Right away, I want to give a quick summary of this so that you know whether or not this is something you want to play. If you are a fan of the Power Rangers TV show and the level of campiness and humor that it has, then you are going to love this scenario. If you are a fan of the Boom Comics Power Rangers run with a dark and grittier world, you are going to hate this scenario. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm actually one of those players. I prefer my adventures to be a bit more grounded in reality, to have a bit higher stakes. So it's a perfectly valid play style. I'm just bringing it up now because if your group is the kind of group that doesn't appreciate strong stereotypes and basically TV tropes, then you're probably not going to have a lot of fun in this scenario. That said, I'm going to proceed talking about the scenario as if I am trying to appeal to those who like that sort of thing. One reason to buy the scenario is that it comes with a Game Master screen, and it is the only way to get the Game Master screen. So if you don't use it, it's kind of a waste. But the GM screen is so good, I would say buy it anyway. Let's go over the scenario. Scenario 1 takes place at a fair. It is assumed that you have been training with Zordon and Alpha 5 for the last 2 weeks, and they want to give you a break, an all-expenses paid trip to the city fair. At this fair, there are a series of events that you can participate in. It also goes into great detail about what kinds of food you can get, whether or not they're spicy, and what happens if you have too much of it. It imposes some downshifts on you for 2 hours game time if you eat certain food combinations. I was surprised. I don't know why they did that, but it's kind of hilarious. But you only have like 2 choices for drinks, and one of them is pink lemonade. So I think the other one's tea. I don't know, but take that for what it's worth. You basically can do a nondescript number of things while you're at the fair, but there are 3 things that they mention specifically. Tests of skill. There's a strength skill test, there is a speed, and there is a smart test. And the strength skill test is taking a mallet, hitting a pellet, and ringing a bell. And it is hosted by a man with a twirly mustache wearing a white and red striped shirt. So exactly what you're imagining right now. And he's yelling at people to come on, try this test of strength, etc., etc. All it is a mic check. If you get a high enough roll, you ring the bell. And then you can pick a prize. It actually lists the different prizes you can get. The speed test is an acrobatics skill test, and it is a Jacob's ladder. If you don't know what a Jacob's ladder is, it's basically just a spinning ladder that you sometimes see at the fair, and the challenge is to get from one side to the other without falling off. Get high enough and you make it across and you can get a prize. The last game is a pendulum game where there's a ball on a rope, and you're supposed to swing it over a table, and on the backswing you're supposed to hit a bowling pin, and if you knock it over you get a prize. It is assumed in this scenario that people know what the Power Rangers are, and the reason why I say that is because one of the prizes you can get is a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers plushie. So either they're breaking the fourth wall, or people know what Power Rangers are and they're already trying to start capitalizing on it. So if this is your very first scenario, you're going to want to keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's going to sound very strange. If this is your player's first foray into the world of Power Rangers, why are there Power Ranger plushies? But the fact that these exist is actually kind of awesome, because you can get 2 different colors from the strength test game. I think 2 different colors from the speed test game, and 1 different color from the smart test game. One of your players could have a whole collection of Power Ranger plushies representing each member of the team. That is amazing. And I can already see certain players that would make that a priority. It's like, I want to be the one that collects them all. All right, so what's the point of all of these games? Well, obviously you're trying to waste time, right? There's some things in this scenario that need to happen throughout your players playing games and eating food. One of those things is to meet another character named Clancy. Clancy is an ostrich. If I haven't lost you yet, good job for making it this far. So, Clancy the ostrich is being escorted around by a pair of animal handlers. And when they see the Rangers, it's supposed to come over, and then you are supposed to either do a animal handling check, or I think an alertness check, to see how bonded you are with this Clancy character. Clancy is going to be a recurring NPC that either helps or hinders you throughout the adventure, and there's not very much you can do to get rid of him. He does not have a stat block, but he does have an attack roll, and I'll get to that in a minute. When Clancy sees you, if you roll low, he hates you. He'll peck you, it doesn't do any damage, and then he walks away. If you roll middle of the road, he's neutral toward you and nothing in particular happens. If you roll high and he likes you, then he'll come over and like peck you on the neck or something. And if you roll super high, then he considers you part of the tribe of Clancy, and he stares into you while giving you like cuddles, and you are now a bird, and he's going to love and respect you and all that stuff. Why does this matter? It doesn't at first, but there are several points in the scenario where something is supposed to happen depending on how well Clancy liked you. Now, here's the problem. The book tells you that you should do this with each Power Ranger, but I think that's kind of a mistake, and I don't think they worded it very well for you to be able to do that, because in the scenarios where Clancy hates you, he walks away and he's gone. Well, how can he do that? Once he does that, he's not in the scene anymore, so you can't roll for anybody else, or what? I think that would take a really long time, and I also think it would be really boring if all of your players rolled neutral and then nothing happened with Clancy at all. So here is what I would change. You have all of your Rangers roll one of the skills. The highest one say that they got into the tribe of Clancy, and the lowest one says it hates you. And just keep those in your pocket for later in the scenario. So after Clancy leaves, there's another event. The Best in Show Pig contest has just concluded, and Cupcake, the 1,000-pound pig, has just won. And you're supposed to narrate to the players that as soon as Cupcake gets on the stage, walks over to the center and is hit by a ray of sunlight, he turns into a monster. He turns into the Pudgy Pig. If you know that from Power Ranger lore. After he does this, and this is where already it's pretty campy in some places, but this is where it really starts to show. Farmer Sorics shows up, and the way he's described, he's in blue overalls, he's got a straw hat, he's got wheat sticking out of his mouth, and he has a giant, like, large toad under his arm for another contest. And he runs up and he's like, "Cupcake, what are you doing? We won the contest, calm down." And it's like, dude, do you not see he's a monster? At all? But so what happens is, as soon as Pudgy Pig shows up, you have to make a decision. How hard do you want the fight to be? If your Rangers are level 1, or you just want the encounter to be easy, then you're supposed to start off Pudgy Pig with 2 less hit points. He has a total of 5. And every round he can eat something and get a hit point back. And in easy mode, he spends his first 2 rounds trying to eat something and not attacking. If you want it to be middle of the road encounter, or your Power Rangers are level 2 already, he starts off having eaten 1 thing, so he only has 1 hit point down. He's going to spend the first round trying to eat, and then if it's not successful, then he'll attack. And if you want it to be a hard encounter or a full encounter, then he starts with all 5 of his hit points. He doesn't have to eat, and he just attacks right away. In the average encounter and the improved encounter, he starts off the battle doing something called Swine Revolution. All of the pigs in the contest swarm around him and create, like, I don't know, 20-foot radius of pigs that make it difficult terrain. Meaning you're slower when you walk through that zone, making attacking him kind of difficult. Now, when I say Pudgy Pig has to eat, he has to eat food, not people. That comes later. So he's going to run to the trash can. He's going to grab a hot dog off the ground. It's really nondescript about where he's going to find food. It's just assumed that there's food everywhere and people are running and screaming. Now, you fight him until you beat him, and then he's gone. But Clancy shows up. And if he hates you, he's going to run up, attack the person he hates. I don't think it hurts you, but it does make you, like, lose an action. And then he runs away. If you're part of the tribe of Clancy, or he likes you, he'll run over to Pudgy Pig, ignoring the difficult terrain, and attack him for 2 rounds, preventing Pudgy Pig from doing anything. I may have said this before in other videos, but health in Power Rangers is very low. And monsters generally have more health than your standard Power Ranger. Pudgy Pig has 5. If you're playing Power Rangers with a 5-man group, which I think is pretty standard, because the smallest the Power Ranger team I've ever seen is 3 people, what makes them think this monster is going to survive more than 1 single round? Every Power Ranger gets an attack. And remember, the Yellow Ranger can attack 3 times, potentially, depending on their level. And the Red Ranger can smack an enemy for like 2 or 3 damage. Really, 1 round is probably... You're probably going to kill Pudgy Pig before he does anything at all. He's going to eat 1 thing and then immediately die. Or he's going to eat 1 thing, and then on your next turn, Clancy's going to show up. He's going to be stunned for 2 rounds, and he's going to die. Because 5 of you taking a turn, the action economy is in your favor. Now, this is not supposed to be hard, but there is only 1 target. Pudgy Pig. He is going to go down, and he's going to go down fast. One thing I forgot to mention, as soon as the encounter starts, he grabs a kid and throws him. But it's fine because he lands on an inflatable slide, because nobody gets hurt in Power Rangers. It's a kids show. Anyway, after the battle's over, the pig turns back into its normal form, and the farmer runs over, and he's like, I don't know what got into her, but I'm super glad you were able to handle the problem. Now, you have an option here. You can talk to the farmer, or you can just not talk to the farmer. I don't know. But the fact is, if there are certain questions that you should be asking the farmer right now, and if you don't, you're going to miss something. Now, the scenario accounts for that. Like, obviously, the book kind of expects you to start asking, did you do anything weird with your pig that might cause this to happen? And he's supposed to reveal that mysterious mega feed showed up on my farm, and I just figured, feeds is feed, so I gave it to my pig, and it seemed to like it. He grew really big, and I don't know what happened. What you're supposed to find out is that Babu, one of Rita Repulsa's minions, created a serum and put it into a mega feed, and then gave the mega feed to various individuals. And then if animals eat it and then are exposed to direct sunlight, they transform. But you might not figure that out here. So if you don't figure it out, or if you as a GM want to anyway, after this encounter is over, the farmer's cell phone rings, and he picks it up, and it's his daughter panicking. She's at Angel Grove College, and she's panicking. And you as the Rangers are supposed to offer to help. It's not incredibly... So, another thing they said in the scenario is that you cannot contact Zordon or Alpha 5 during any of this. They are underground in the power chamber working on your Zords, so if you try to contact them, it will fail. I'm not sure why they did this, but it means you can't teleport to the college. You have to find another way to get there, and the farmer can offer to give you a ride. But that raises some questions. Do you stay morphed this entire time? One of the 3 Power Ranger imperatives is that you keep your identity a secret. So I assume that's what they want you to do. They want you to stay a Power Ranger for as long as it takes to get to the next mission. Can you imagine Power Rangers just in the back of a pickup truck being driven to an emergency? Anyway, that's part 1. I'll create at least... I need to create more videos to cover part 2 and part 3. So until then, stay tuned for more.